guys and gals, never here from Drakewing Gaming, and somebody on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you in a Let's Play episode of Temptation's Ballad. One second, y'all, let me make sure I've got the HDR off and mic on. Yes, my recording equipment is in fact working, and we should be good to go. Let's go ahead and jump right back in, y'all. Alright. Calder plucked a long, feathery quill out of thin air and twirled it in his hand with a pompous smirk, as though waiting for applause. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Calder O'Shaughnessy, Order of Scribes Wizard, at your service. Sidd blinked. Oh, nice. Calder spluttered indignantly. Nice? That's all you can think to say? Are you not impressed by the sheer expertise before you? Honestly, I'm not super familiar with all the schools of wizardry. Order of the Scribes is like a book wizard, right? Calder looked like he had been fed a particularly sour lemon. Book wizard? Book wizard? We scribes are the ultimate keepers of knowledge. We weave spells into existence through a mere stroke of our quills and enshrine magic through wit and word alone. To reduce us to mere dusty bookkeepers is an insult of the highest order. Sidd scratched his head awkwardly. I didn't mean any offense by it. Books are nice. Calder scowled. Books are nice, he says. I've seen the inside of your mind, as though you ever felt anything but disdain and inferiority in the presence of literature. There you go, let me finish chewing this thing in my mouth. There we go. Sidd's jaw tightened. Calder's brain suddenly seemed to catch up with his mouth as he bit his lip. Silence cut between them like a guillotine. The noble hastily turned towards the prison plaques and began flipping through his tome. Anyway, this cipher seems fairly simple. If I can just match a single word to the symbols on the plaque, I will decode its meaning in no time. How so? Calder immediately latched onto this reprieve from the previous conversation like a drowning man to a piece of wood. Well, you see, this seems like a common substitution cipher. If I can match frequently used words like the or and, I will be able to break the code with ease. Right. And the fact that the letters are magically flickering in and out of sight won't be a problem for an expert like me. Just sit back and watch as Calder O'Shaughnessy proves his worth. I really hope I've picked a very appropriately annoying, pompous voice for him, because I think I have. No time quickly dragged on into quite a bit of time, as almost half an hour ticked by. The noble's bravado soon dissolved into a rhythm of frustrated quill strokes and irritated breaths. At least he has something productive to do, Sidd mused. He twiddled his thumbs aimlessly with each passing minute, feeling nothing short of useless. Calder glanced at him quietly. Stop that! What? I'm not doing anything. You're thinking. Loudly. It's distracting. What else am I supposed to do? I'm no help in a situation like this. Can a guy just dwell on his own thoughts in peace? Not those thoughts, no. Let me assure you, you're playing a vital role here as my bodyguard. What if I am attacked while immersed in my work? I cannot concentrate on the cipher if I am left defenseless. So stop fussing over nothing. It's distracting. Sidd blinked in surprise. Oh, thanks. Calder grumbled as he flipped through his tome. There is nothing to be thankful for. I am simply stating the facts. Now shut up and let me work. Do you need a kiss already? Despite the half hour spent poring over the code, the noble didn't look like he was making much progress. Sidd sighed and gazed around the eerie room. I don't really like the look of these cells. Shouldn't we try to find the others instead of staying here? Calder snapped his book shut with a frustrated sigh and shot him a withering look. And be ridiculed for returning empty-handed with our tails tucked between our legs? I think not. Sidd scratched his head with a grimace. Listen, man, I know you guys got started on the wrong foot, but I don't think the others are as harsh as you think they are. Oh, this is not an indictment of their character. Anyone so useless deserves such mockery. People want results. No matter how politely they receive you, and I refuse to be babied. The noble's words oozed with exasperation. Sidd blinked. Are you talking about how I asked the others to back off? I'm not babying you. This is just basic decency, yeah? Nobody likes getting picked on. Calder sniffed. Ah, this is common practice among the peasantry, is it? No wonder why you all stink of mediocrity. Though, you are proving to be quite exceptional, said Shrikewood. Perhaps all that schoolyard tormenting pushed you to grow beyond your middling peers. I don't even know where to start with this one. So, do you remember when we talked about how nobody's gonna like you if you keep insulting them? Insults? I was complimenting you. Practically showering you with praise, in fact. Talking shit about other people to flatter someone is generally frowned upon. Calder's eye roll was practically audible. What thin skin you commoners have. I suppose it's only to be expected, especially with your lack of proper parenting. Dude, what did I just say? Well, it's true. You don't even have real parents. Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up, Calder. Oh my god. That demon witch probably picked you off the side of the road when you were an infant. That surely does not compare to being raised by a real mother. If Sidd was a more patient man, he'd take a step back and swallow down the sudden wave of anger. The noble was obviously frustrated with his lack of progress of the cipher and was looking for an outlet. But Sidd's patience had worn thin, and he bit back sharply. Oh, 1 second. I was adopted at a healer's hut after some woman abandoned me there. My real mother found me crying and insisted on giving me a home. Ilya Shrikewood is my mom. Nobody else. She's a woman who raised you, yes. At the risk of stating the obvious, you do not share blood with that tiny bird. She's my mom. She raised me, clothed me, and helped me make me who I am today. Same goes for my dad. Why are you nobles so hung up about this whole bloodline thing? Sure, there's a woman out there who birthed me, but maybe she had a fling and ended up with a kid she didn't want. Her blood runs through me, yeah, but she's not my mom. Not in a way that matters. Sidd's words only seemed to irritate the noble further. Calder glared back, slightly shaken. Of course it matters. Even if you never met the woman, she's still your real mother and you, a part of her legacy. Your wounded feelings don't change the facts. She's a stranger. What legacy could there be? She left me with a blanket when she dumped me at the healer's hut. I guess that's something. Sidd paused. He dug through his pockets for a moment before pulling out a small black object. And the doctors found this little thingy under my blankets. I think it's a broken tip of a claw weapon of some kind. Mom, my real mom, says she thinks it's a keepsake. Something from that woman to show that she cared. Ooh, that might be something else. Interesting. Sidd snorted. She didn't care enough to stick around, though. Honestly, I think I just want some piece of I think it's just some piece of rubbish that she accidentally dropped while bundling me up. That's all I got as far as legacy goes. So, sorry if I don't call her my real mom, because she's not. She's not the woman who raised me. The noble suddenly snapped angrily. Ah, yes, because the dictionary definition of mother indeed says the woman who raised you. And what would that leave with me with? A ghost? Sidd blinked. It took a moment for Calder to realize the words he spat out and his ears drooped. The Hannah did not meet his gaze and busied himself with studying the plaques and engravings on the hallway walls, embarrassed by his own outburst. The air was quiet for several long, agonizing minutes. The noble was determined to ignore him as he continued his studies. Sidd cleared his throat. I'm sorry for your loss. Whatever response Calder was expecting, it wasn't this. The Hannah looked startled as he stared up at Sidd with wonder and uncertainty. A small part of Sidd wondered if he was anticipating mockery of all things. I suppose this is what basic decency you were yammering about. Ilya Shrikewood may be a horrific host and a terrifying innkeeper, but I can't deny she somehow managed to raise a decent son. Wow. That's a high praise coming from a fucking stuck-up noble. The noble quickly ducked his head down and buried himself in his studies again. Sidd crouched down and watched him work quietly. Calder's shoulders were tense, and he occasionally glanced towards him, as though bracing for a harsh retort. Can I ask a question? The noble glanced up, annoyed. What a stupid and terrible phrase. That itself was a question. If you have one, just ask. Alright. Do you get insulted a lot back home? Calder suddenly shrunk, his lips pressed into a thin grimace. Sorry, I'm not making fun of you or anything. Just curious. You act like you're always expecting it. I was raised by my grandfather, the esteemed Gaius O'Shaughnessy. His expectations are high. And not unreasonably so, of course not. Oh, just the right amount, just enough to push me to become my best. A true O'Shaughnessy would be able to take it in stride. Calder stared at him strangely. Why does this intrigue you so? You were insulted plenty in your childhood. I saw it in your mind. Yeah, but those were all kids from my school. Mom turned half of them into houseplants for a day, and Dad always told me he was proud that I ended up soft and gentle like him. Sure, some folks can be cruel, but it never became normal. The noble looked disturbed as he stumbled for words. Calder steeled himself and settled on an irritated glare. Grandfather did not insult me, as you put it. I am the heir of House O'Shaughnessy, the last heir, and great things are expected of me. He pushed me to become my best self. He made me better. This is what it means to be an O'Shaughnessy. It is not cruel if it is necessary. Sidd fell silent. He watched as the noble clutched his book close, as though shielding himself from an unexpected wave of cutting words. The sight made Sidd's chest hurt. Did it? What? Did it make you better? To that, Calder didn't seem to have an answer. The hyena suddenly looked very small. He half-heartedly turned back towards the prison plaques, only to be faced with the arcane cipher he's made no progress in. Calder's shoulders slumped. He shot the badger with an accusing glare. So this was your great ploy, was it? To reduce me to your level? To throw my failures in my face? Are you happy? Sidd shook his head quietly. Calder growled as he pressed further, anger quickly filling the cracks. And what about you, little commoner? Poor illiterate Sidd Shrikewood, who couldn't even hold down a job to repay your little pretend family. A pity hire by your sorry excuse of a boss. A wannabe warrior made obsolete by the creators chosen. On what grounds do you have to stand on and judge me? The words stung, but not as much as Sidd expected. He was surprised. His lack of reaction seemed to only infuriate the noble further. I'm not judging. I don't believe you! Why? Calder's words caught in his throat. Because how could you not? I've seen inside your head. You're always comparing yourself, always grasping for some hint of value. It must please you greatly to finally find someone lesser than yourself. Sidd looked up sharply. You're not lesser than me. Well, of course I'm not. I'm Calder O'Shaughnessy, and you're nobody. You're... The rage in his voice faltered as Calder's gaze fell to the ground with a hint of shame. More than I deserve. Calder sighed, his book dropping from his hands and falling to the floor with a thud. What hope is there for me? Sidd hesitated before gingerly placing a hand on the hyena's shoulder. I think you're pretty neat when you want to be. The noble scoffed bitterly. High praise coming from you. I mean, if you threw all those insults at me a few days ago, I probably would have been real hurt for a while. But I've met a lot of people since then, and I learned a lot about myself. People can change for the better, and I think you can too. Ah, optimism. How riveting. The noble sucked in a deep breath and took a moment to collect himself. Sidd could feel the tension slowly leaving the hyena's body as he leaned against the warmth of his arm. Your sniveling little boss was right, by the way. I wasn't supposed to attend the jousting tournament yesterday. I wasn't supposed to leave O'Shaughnessy Manor at all. I'm gonna have to stop y'all. Doing his voice like that is actually destroying my throat, so... Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon and YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!